Alright guys, so I have a theory about game development stage of this game. Of Batman Arkham City, okay? Let's just call it this way, and I will try to make this video short, even for people who watched my channel for a long time now. They know that my quote-unquote short videos are usually like half a hour long, you know? But I will legit try to make this video as concise as possible, okay? And I will give you only the most important information. But I literally came up with this theory yesterday, okay? And it just occurred to me, and I didn't even think about it at first, but it makes sense. Okay, and I will say right away that I have no idea if anyone ever posted this theory anywhere else before, okay? I honestly never checked. So, this theory is, like, I literally came up with this theory, like, yesterday, okay, myself. So, and it's not one of those theories that came out of nowhere, okay? Like, I didn't pull it out of my ass, this isn't one of those channels, okay? Like, I actually have solid proof, okay? And I have a very good reason to believe that, at least to an extent, what I'm going to say is true, okay? And I personally, pretty confident that this is most likely what happened, okay? But anyway, let's get to this theory, pretty much. It has to do with that video that I posted yesterday. Okay, literally before this one that you are watching right now, okay? So before this one, you can go watch that video, and this is the video I was talking about. Basically, I will give you a brief rundown of what happened. What happens in this video. The most important part is that Bruce Wayne's character model can do whatever you call this move, right? Bat dive. Okay, I call it bat dive because, it's Batman, and he always says, bat, insert some random ass object, you know what I mean? That's kind of like the whole, he has a fetish for bat themes, so, but that's besides the point. So yes, he can do a bat dive, right? Here is a funny thing. Apparently, Bruce Wayne's character model, and this is something it's not the first thing I noticed either, right? But Bruce Wayne's character model can do a bat dive. And, but this isn't the only thing. I was wondering about one more thing, right? Before that, I uploaded a video where, Bruce Wayne basically, he can take fall damage. Okay, and the way it works in pretty much any game is that fall damage by default isn't, calculated, right? I mean, you can set gravity of the game and all that, of course, but that has nothing to do with health of characters. So developers have to manually program characters to take fall damage. Okay, understand how games work. Okay, so they literally have to program character, responding to fall from a particular height and the amount of percentage of damage that he takes depending on that height. So it's pretty complex, but anyway, Bruce Wayne takes fall damage in this game. Okay, how weird is that? Okay, and it didn't occur to me at first. I didn't really think of the reason. I actually questioned why they would go out of their way to program. It's so weird, right? Just think about it. Developers went out of their way to give Bruce Wayne fall damage. Okay, like they enabled fall damage for him, and Batman doesn't have it, Catwoman doesn't have it, okay, Robin doesn't have it. Nobody has it. Only Bruce Wayne, and again, it's just weird. Especially since, well, you know, it's game developers, right? Why would they waste their time and resources programming something? Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Why would you waste your time on it? Okay, you're not supposed to play as Bruce Wayne in this game for that long. You're not supposed to fall from heights where you can take damage and all that stuff, you know what I mean? So, you really aren't supposed to do any of those things. There isn't any moment in this game where you have to attack enemies from a vantage point, okay? You know, vantage point. You know, like Batman, right? You drop down on top of enemies. There isn't a single moment in this game where you have to do it as Bruce Wayne. Yet, he can do it in this game, right? And when I posted my my first video where he takes fall damage, I didn't really think about it, right? But the answer was so obvious. And the answer is, I think that developers, like, I think at some point you were supposed to play as Bruce Wayne, and do all of those things, you know, like dive on top of enemies and all that stuff. So that's kind of what I'm going to talk about. My first point is fall damage. As I said, right? I mean, you'll understand how weird it is, right? So it's not a default thing. They actually had to program that thing, even for nowhere in final finished version of the game you will ever need it. Okay, you won't ever need, you know, like fall damage. It's just weird. Okay, like there isn't a single situation in the game where you have to take fall damage at all, and why go out of your way to program it? Again, it's just so weird. Especially since developers and programmers in general, right? You know that they are lazy people. Like, it's like one of those well-known things, right? Developers are pretty much universally like one of the laziest people ever. Okay, like if they can avoid programming, working on something, because programming is pretty hard, you know, like if you didn't know. So if they can avoid working on programming, programmers usually would just rest or something, right? They would not work, especially when it's company. Okay, that what especially makes it weird. It wasn't anyone's project or anything, right? It was like an actual a game made by company. You know, it actually pays money to these people, right? It won't waste. Why would they waste money and time to program a character that you are never even supposed to play as for that long, and do all of these things that I mentioned, right? Like, fall damage, dropping on top of enemies and all that stuff. Why waste time? And my point is, I think they wanted to include more stuff with Bruce Wayne in the game. It's the only logical conclusion that I came up with, so that I can come to. So again, it's just waste time. Okay, it's but anyway, you get what I'm saying. It's just weird. Like, another possibility. Basically, there are two possibilities. Okay, let's just make it. Let's get straight to the point. There are two possibilities. One, either they actually decided for some reason to just program, some random shit for Bruce Wayne, so he can do some random shit that you never get to see, like at all. You never get to use it in like final finished version of the game. It's not in the final product at all. Okay, so you don't see it in the final product, and developers for some reason just decided to say, like, hey guys, let's just, I don't know, give Bruce Wayne an ability to bad dive and enable fall damage and give him some other abilities, like that you don't get to use. And nobody will ever use them because we won't include it in a finished product. Nobody will ever see any of those things. Again, it's just weird, right? So this possibility, and I don't believe it's true because it just doesn't make sense. Another possibility is that yes, it was in fact intended for you to play as Bruce Wayne for more than 15 minutes, right? Or however long, basically. However long you beat everyone up. Because you don't get to play as Bruce Wayne for that long, honestly. And you only play as him once. At the start. And that's it. So, this is my theory. That something happened during game development stage of this game. Okay, something prevented them from finishing I'm pretty sure they wanted to make more missions with Bruce Wayne. They wanted to give him his own animations and all that stuff. So, you would be able to play as Bruce Wayne, like sneak attack enemies. You would have to do it as Bruce Wayne. In some situations, I would imagine you would have to dive on top of them, and all of that stuff, pretty much. And something prevented them from doing it, right? Because again, bad dive. They actually gave him an ability to, they gave Bruce Wayne an ability to bad dive, but for example, he doesn't have a corresponding animation for, bad dive. So, again, it's just weird. But the effect from bad dive is still there. How weird is that? And, I think, the most likely explanation and the most logical one is that something prevented them from, finishing Bruce Wayne's missions or something. I don't know. The only question remains now: what could prevent? What could stop them from finishing all of those? Finishing all of those levels, all of those animations, all of those, what have you, right? And typically, from what I can tell, it usually has to do with deadline, okay? So games have deadline. You probably know that, right? Pretty much any game has deadline, right? Because these, very rich people on top of companies, CEOs, right? So these programming companies and programmers individually, they have to respond to these CEOs, right? Because those CEOs give money for game development in the first place, okay? So, they're officially these company, programmers' bosses. Okay, so they give money and they decide, okay, they want to see product that they paid for, okay, they want to see how it looks, and they set deadlines for video games. There is every video game has a certain deadline, so developers are under very high pressure, and they have to pretty much develop a game as fast as possible while also make it an actual quality game, right? So you can imagine how hard it is, and mostly just emotionally, and So this is, I think, the most likely is that there was a deadline. So they actually didn't have enough time to finish the game. Alternative possibility is that maybe they just scrapped the idea altogether. Maybe they just started working on it, but they didn't like it. Because, only God knows why, right? So only God knows why, for whatever reason they just decided to kind of, scrap the idea. And, these bosses, again, I personally think it has to do with deadline. Like, this is just, again, I cannot prove it, and I cannot, well, technically I cannot prove that you were ever supposed to play as Bruce Wayne, more often, either, right? So, but all facts kind of pointed to the fact that, yeah, you were in fact supposed to play as Bruce Wayne more often, so. But that never came to be because of deadline. That's my theory, and also another theory as for why that didn't happen. So two theories essentially, and because those CEOs, they want to see final results. They don't want to. They don't want no excuses. Okay, they just want to see results as fast as possible. They don't want no excuses. Okay, yes, they don't want any excuses, and honestly, I think that's it. I might play around a bit some more, maybe I will try, maybe I will find something else, but yeah, for now that's it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and if I have some more ideas, I will of course deliver them as well, so in the future, So yeah, that's it for now, see you later.